Today on PGTV News, Polk County has launched a new financial assistance program if your job has been impacted by COVID-19. We have the details coming up.
And a prominent member of Polk County Schools is retiring. That's all ahead on PGTV News.
Welcome to PGTV News. I'm Tina Mann.
And I'm Stephen Barnes. As the novel coronavirus is studied, scientists are learning more about how it infects. While the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention have warned that infection may be possible by touching contaminated surfaces, the agency now says that it does not spread easily in that manner, nor by animal to human contact or vice versa. COVID-19 is a new disease, and we are still learning about how it spreads, says the CDC's recently updated guidelines. The CDC still warns that the main way the virus is spread is through person-to-person contact, even among those who are not showing any symptoms. The main way to prevent infection, the CDC says, is by practicing social distancing and staying at least 6 feet away from others, washing your hands with soap, and cleaning and disinfecting frequently touched areas. The CDC recommends wearing cloth face coverings in public settings where other social distancing measures are difficult to maintain, such as grocery stores and pharmacies, especially in the areas of significant community-based transmission. A recent study in the New England Journal of Medicine shows that coronavirus can live on some surfaces for up to 3 days and up to 3 hours in the air. It can live up to 4 hours on copper, up to 24 hours on cardboard, and up to 2 to 3 days on plastic and stainless steel, according to the study. The CDC, however, has said that catching the coronavirus from delivery boxes or on your takeout food bag is highly unlikely because of poor survivability on these specific surfaces.
I think the most frustrating thing in all of this is the confusing and conflicting information.
Yeah.
And the changing information. I mean, I know that it's novel. That's why it's called the novel coronavirus, because it's new and people don't know, anything about it. But, it's a little frustrating that you take precautions and then you're like, no, that's not actually what you need to do. So.
Well, and the main thing though, I think they've been saying it from the beginning, is some of these basic
hygiene.
Basic hygiene, washing your hands with soap, and the social distancing factors of face masks and distances. So,
right.
Even though we're learning more about it and some of the things that we know now are a little bit different than what we thought we knew before, the practice of guarding yourself still remains the same.
True. The Polk County Board of County Commissioners approved spending $2 million on an expanded coronavirus testing program for county and municipal employees in Polk County cities. The money will come from the $126 million the county government received last month from the CARES Act federal aid package. Congress passed the CARES Act to help the U.S. economy rebound from COVID-19 related economic shutdowns. The money will support both COVID-19 diagnostic testing at $100 per person and a blood test for antibodies to the disease at $50 per test, County Manager Bill Beasley said. The latter test will be used as a tool to estimate the extent of COVID-19 infections in the general Polk population. The antibody testing will seek to determine how many employees have the COVID-19 antibodies and whether employees positive for the antibodies in previous tests still have them. Testing will be extended to county employees whose job require a lot of personal contact with citizens. Testing will begin on June 15th. The Florida Department of Health in Polk County set a testing goal of 500 tests per day. This is equivalent to about 2% of the population each month. The department is currently testing about 450 people per day. Local hospital executives talked about setting up diagnostic testing sites in targeted communities determined to be at high risk of infection, said Beasley. These communities have not yet been identified. The county has set aside $30 million for COVID-19 testing and is also purchasing personal protective equipment for healthcare workers from its $126 million CARE funding. $40 million of the CARES funding allocation is dedicated to small business relief to companies employing 25 or fewer people. Companies can get grants of up to $5,000 for losses directly related to COVID. The county also set aside $30 million for individuals who have lost income during the shutdown to help with living expenses, such as rent and mortgage payments and utility bills.
The CARES Act money is a big help to everybody.
Absolutely.
And I think one of the big things, they're helping small businesses under 25. And you see that a lot of that money has been set aside to help people maintain their living spaces.
Right.
Their homes, their mortgage, their rental,
Right.
their rent for the month. And that's important because if you allow this one problem to create other problems such as homelessness or those types of issues, then you're digging a deeper hole.
Right, and the testing and the additional antibody testing, it's going to help them get a clearer and better picture of what we're fighting here.
Due to the CARES Act, Polk County is offering assistance if your job has been impacted by COVID-19. Qualified Polk County residents and small business owners may now apply online for financial assistance through Polk's portion of the Federal Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security Act. The online application process will require residents and business owners to fill out a form and attach verifying documentation with the application. Individuals who have lost their job or income due to the COVID-19 pandemic and reside in a household with combined income of less than $75,000 will be eligible for $2,000 of assistance. On your application, you must confirm that you have not received other COVID-19 assistance for rent, mortgage, or utility payments. You must have a valid Florida ID or driver's license, your tax return from 2019 or your return from 2018, and your most recent pay stubs, proof of loss of income due to COVID-19, and a utility invoice or mortgage or rent bill. Residents who do not have technology access to complete the online process may contact United Way of Central Florida at 211 to apply for assistance from Polk County. For more information, visit polk-county.net/polkcares2020. Some much needed relief for a lot of people.
Absolutely, and it's important to note this is first come, first served, so people need to not procrastinate and go ahead and get your documentation together and apply. I mean, I know we've been inundated here at the county with calls and things like that, so.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a lot of money, but that pot of money will go fast. Will go very quickly, for sure.
Local colleges and universities received more than $14 million in federal relief funds as part of the CARES Act passed by Congress in March. The $2 trillion package included nearly $14 billion in emergency funding for colleges and universities across the country. These funds are intended to offset the financial effects of the COVID-19 crisis. Distinct pools of money were created for students and institutions. The Higher Education Emergency Relief Fund is meant to help colleges cover the expenses of shifting classes online, among other disruptions. Colleges were invited to apply for grants, and most institutions in Polk County already have received funding. Funding is based on student enrollment. The legislation requires that the first 50% of the money must go directly to students. Colleges and universities are required to provide reports detailing how they disperse the money within 30 days and then again every 45 days. Polk State College, which has campuses in Winter Haven and Lakeland, collected $6.1 million, the largest allotment among the local schools. That translates into more than $3 million to be distributed to students through emergency financial aid grants. Southeastern University in Lakeland reported receiving $4.8 million. The school is still determining how the money will be used after half is awarded to students. Florida Southern College in Lakeland received about $2.2 million in emergency aid. The school has awarded grants totaling more than $1.1 million to 2,969 students, with a small amount from other sources added to the federal funds. Florida Polytechnic University in Lakeland collected nearly $1.3 million through the CARES Act, resulting in student grants of more than $626,000. This is the second smallest allotment of funds in the Florida State University system, but is a reflection of the relatively small student population at the state's newest university. Florida Poly has not yet received the money designated for school reimbursements and expenses.
We started out this whole COVID-19 and folks were losing jobs, schools were shutting down, and now we're kind of getting into that like positive portion where we're starting to be able to handle some things, get some money doled out to those who are in need. It's good to see our local colleges and universities getting the much needed help.
Right, it's kind of like building a house. You got to get all the infrastructure set up,
Yep.
and then you have the rewards.
Yep. Florida Southern College will implement a test optional admissions policy for students who are considering enrolling for the spring and fall 2021 terms. In a press release, the school says they intend to assist students facing unprecedented challenges as a result of the COVID-19 pandemic, including the cancellation of standardized testing dates. Instead of testing, potential students will answer an essay question in regards to academic skills, personal and professional development, talents and skills, and the impact the students believe they'll make to the campus community. Usual requirements such as recommendations, extracurricular activities, and other achievements will be considered. Well, that's different.
It is different, and I have a child who is not good at testing. So an essay type format, or to be able to, in another way prove that he would be a good asset, I think that's a good thing.
A lot of schools have incorporated essays in their applications for a long time, but to just go by the application now and kind of waive those other testing criteria is a big break for a lot of kids.
Yeah.
But it's no easy task putting together a good essay.
No, it's not.
You got to study up and learn how to write a good essay before you send in your application.
Absolutely. Polk County Public Schools Superintendent Jacqueline Bird announced her retirement from the position in a letter to board members effective on February 26, 2021. Bird listed her major achievements during her tenure, including increasing the district's state grade from a C to a B, increasing graduation rates to 88%, and sustaining 2 consecutive years with no F-rated schools, among many things. In her letter, she said, "Despite the challenges, I understood what mattered most, providing our students and community with a top-performing, reliable school district squarely focused on improving the quality of education for all students. As superintendent, a parent, and a Polk County resident, it was my belief and still is that our students and community deserved no less." The superintendent's letter notes some board members who have either acted or attempted to act in ways that materially blur the respective roles and responsibilities of the school board policy and budget and superintendent operations. Moreover, the willful and increasing overreach has been unprecedented in my 32 years of experience in education, including 13 years in senior leadership positions. She said she is going to transition to a more private life in which she can spend more time with her husband and family.
It's understandable.
It is.
It's a high-stress job, a lot of moving parts to it, obviously, if you've been keeping up, but
It is, but
she's done a great job.
she has done a great job, and she has really implemented some great programs during this COVID crisis and making sure students can continue to get educated and fed and that their basic needs are being met.
Yep.
So.
Polk County certainly has some big shoes to fill. Assistant State Attorney Jennifer Swenson has been appointed to the Polk County bench, filling a vacancy created by the retirement of County Judge John Kirkland. Swenson was selected from among 4 candidates nominated by the Judicial Nominating Commission for the 3-county 10th Judicial Court, which includes Polk, Highlands, and Hardy counties. Swenson received her undergraduate degree from Vanderbilt University and her law degree in 2012 from Duke University School of Law. She was admitted to the Florida bar and went to work at the state attorney's office in Bartow later that year. Hired as a prosecutor in the misdemeanor division and moved up to the felony division a year later, Swenson was named chief of the general felony division, overseeing 3 prosecutors in July of 2017. Swenson will serve until the fall of 2021, when she will have the option of seeking election to a 6-year term. Polk County's 10 county judges preside over cases including misdemeanor criminal charges and traffic offenses, civil lawsuits seeking less than $30,000, and landlord or tenant disputes. They are paid approximately $151,000 $2,822 annually.
Sounds pretty young, but she sounds like she has some really good qualifications.
Yeah, she's worked her way up. You know, you like to hear that you know, you get a little bit of a reward for putting your time in and
Right.
working those low cases. Yeah.
State funding has come through to extend a popular Lakeland Trail at a time when the coronavirus's economic impact has delayed other projects. Lakeland commissioners voted unanimously to enter into an agreement with the Florida Department of Transportation to accept $348,400 to design, build, and construct 3 Parks Trail West. The projects will take approximately 3 years to complete. The plan is to extend the existing asphalt trail that runs the perimeter of Cleveland Heights Golf Course south to Lakeland Family YMCA, then east to Peterson Park. FDOT will provide $43,200 to design a bicycle and pedestrian trail this fiscal year. Preliminary plans call for a 10-foot wide path on the east side of Cleveland Heights Boulevard, starting near its current endpoint near Robin Road, south to Westover Street. Design work is expected to be completed by June 2021. Construction calls for the removal of the existing 5-foot wide sidewalk, replace it, and add improved landscaping for residents to enjoy. The estimated cost of engineering and building the 0.03-mile stretch is approximately $305,000. Construction is estimated to end by December 2023. I get to work a lot with the TPO, and one of their goals is to increase pedestrian walkways and trails and bikeways and to really increase bike and pedestrian safety, because the more people on a trail, the less people actually walking down the road.
Right, yep. And certainly getting people off of that Cleveland Heights road there is a big concern. And the trail that already exists at Peterson Park is an absolutely beautiful trail.
Beautiful.
So connecting the two together is gonna provide a lot more fun to kind of travel further distances.
Right, and hopefully in the future, I think the TPO is working on a connector trail from Fort Fraser into the Lakeland Circuit.
Oh wow, that would be cool. The Winter Haven City Commission approved the reopening of the local theme park. Legoland will reopen on June 1st after the park's general manager explained the COVID-19 precautions the park would be taking, including sanitizing, social distancing, and other restrictions for park guests. The park would reopen to half capacity, which is around 6,000 guests, and will recommend face masks, providing complimentary masks to those who don't bring one. Legoland will also bar admissions to anyone who has a fever of 100.4 degrees or higher, and will refuse to admit all members in that person's party on the assumption they may also carry the coronavirus, consistent with warnings from the global health officials. Legoland employees will take the temperature of every guest at the entrance with a forehead thermometer, he said. If that shows a temperature at or above the threshold, the guest will be tested again with a different thermometer to confirm the result. Governor Ron DeSantis has issued an executive order stating that he will consider allowing Florida theme parks to reopen if Halsey B. Shares, Secretary of the Florida Department of Business and Professional Regulation, approves the park's plans for handling COVID-19 related issues. The order requires a support letter from both municipal and county leaders. In addition to the overall 50% capacity limitation, Legoland will enforce the same limitation at facilities inside the park, such as restaurants and live entertainment venues, and at the hotels. Some Legoland attractions will not reopen on June 1st because of social distancing requirements. Those include some games, interactive play areas, and live meet and greets with costumed characters. To keep up on the latest park entry guidelines, visit the Legoland's website at legoland.com.
It's open for business. Still too much of a little bit of a risk for me, but yeah. I'm sure there's going to be people who are chomping at the bit to go.
And that's just it. I think certain people, their risk thresholds lie at different areas. Obviously, if you've got family members that you're in contact with that are immunocompromised or in those, you want to stay away from places like this. But for most people, the general public, they're willing to get out and start getting back to some type of normalcy. I mean,
we'll see what the new normal is.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching PGTV News. The board review is coming up, but first, while social distancing, a third grade teacher surprised her students with their own creations. Take a look.
I take their main character illustration and I send that off to a company called Budsies, and look at this. They custom make each of their characters into a stuffed animal. The kids get so excited when they see these. My favorite day of the year is the day the Budsies box arrives, because they've worked so hard on this writing process. It's a 14-page book that they write. They go through the whole publication process, and they're so looking forward to having that character turned into the stuffed animal. Each year I just buy a white dress and I set it on a table in the classroom, and they can go over and get some Sharpies and they can put their illustration onto the dress. So I have a bunch of these dresses now. Because every year I make a new one with their characters. I have bagged up all of their Budsies and I'm going to their houses. I know their stories, I know their characters, and can't wait to have them see them.
It's amazing!
Isn't that awesome?
It's awesome. It actually looks like my drawing.
I know. Almost every single student, like, their natural instinct was just to hug it.
Oh my gosh, Snake is so cute! Snake is so cute! I love it! Oh my gosh, look at this! I love it! Oh, it's so pretty!
I felt like Santa Claus. It was the best day I've had since school was released, that I just got to share that moment with them. Not only is it usually the best day of school, but to get to do that after missing the kids for so long was just really awesome.
Yes! This is perfect! Dad?
Just 1 minute, okay?
Hey, Bobo, do trees tell each other stories?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I don't know that.
Hey, why don't we go find out? Listen.
Do clouds take naps?
I couldn't tell you.
Can birds draw pictures?
I don't have an answer for that.
Dad, do stars visit their friends?
Look!
Welcome to the Board Review with news about your county government. I'm your host, Tricia Bichette. Today you'll learn about County Commission actions from the May 19th, 2020 board meeting. Polk County has a new building director. Benjamin Dunn was confirmed as the county's new building director Tuesday. Dunn's appointment is effective starting June 1st, and he will be paid about $110,000 a year. Dunn comes to Polk with about 20 years of experience in local government and agency experience in building permit administration, economic development, land use planning, transportation planning, zoning, development review, code enforcement, housing, and tourism. He was most recently the Development Services Department Director at Highland County Board of County Commissioners. The board approved a construction contract with Universal Contracting of Florida, LLC, to replace the roof on the Frank B. Smith Building in East Bartow. The project will cover about 18,000 square feet of roof and is expected to cost about $288,750. Upgrades are coming to 37 lift stations around the county following an approval of a work order by the board Tuesday. Curry Controls Company was awarded a nearly $2 million contract to provide supervisory control and data acquisition upgrades for these lift stations. The modification to the lift stations will allow for improved remote communications and reduce the cost of maintaining obsolete equipment. The board approved an infrastructure agreement with Ernie Caldwell Properties, LLC, that will provide for the design, permitting, and construction of the utility main extensions in the Bowen Road corridor and the wastewater infrastructure improvements in the Ernie Caldwell Boulevard corridor. This agreement addresses the cost share for these utility improvements, along with the upsizing potable water and reclaimed water in the Ernie Caldwell Boulevard corridor to serve proposed and future development in the area. In a separately approved infrastructure agreement with AK Oakmont LLC, the company will be responsible for off-site potable water and reclaimed water main extensions in the Bowen Road corridor prior to a certificate of occupancy being issued for the project. A 3-year contract with Peace River Center for Personal Development, Inc. for outpatient behavioral health services that provides for on-site and telehealth to qualified low-income county residents was approved by the board. In its first year, the contract will not exceed $291,241. In the second and third years, the contract will not exceed $430,000 annually. A contract with Tri-County Human Services, Inc. for outpatient behavioral health services that provides for on-site and telehealth to qualified low-income county residents was approved by the board. In its first year, this contract will not exceed $422,045. In the second and third years, the contract will not exceed $700,000 annually. The board approved a $2 million agreement with Rivertown Diagnostics to provide COVID-19 antigen and antibody testing. The testing will focus on Polk's frontline workers and prioritize them for testing. The board also held several public hearings on a variety of items. Those items up for consideration included: the first public hearing was held, but no action was taken on a proposed Land Development Code text amendment to change a portion of Chapter 4 of the Northridge Selected Area Plan Development Design Standards and Requirements, along with density regulation tables in the Regional Activity Center, to remove the need for bonus points to achieve residential density in that designation and allow density in the residential medium to go below the base. The board voted not to transmit a proposed large-scale comprehensive plan amendment along the old Polk City Road area. The board transmitted a large-scale comprehensive plan amendment to change the future land use designation on about 80 acres from agricultural residential rural in the rural development area to residential low in the urban growth area. Well, that wraps up this edition of the Board Review. To keep current with programs and progress in the county, visit us online at polk-county.net or follow us on Facebook and Twitter. We encourage you to watch us at the next scheduled board meeting at 9 a.m. Tuesday, June 2nd, 2020. I'm Tricia Pichette. Thanks for watching.